I want to share with you the 5 steps to stop being scapegoated. What's up guys, Matty B here and welcome to No Going Back. Does it ever feel like there are people or environments in your life that no matter what you do, it's never good enough? That you're always being blamed, or maybe you've settled for the role of black sheep of the family? You are unkind and cruel. When I heard you make the comment, "What other people think of me is none of my business," that's when I knew how heartless you were. You've changed, and unless things go back to the way they were, we will never be the same. I'm sorry you feel that way, but it's unreasonable for me to let other people's unhelpful opinions tear me down. I needed to change. I was miserable before. Change is a part of life, and it feels irresponsible to expect people to never grow, and furthermore, to punish them for it. I only treated you that way because you abandoned me. It's all your fault. If you're constantly feeling like you're the reason for everyone's problems, chances are you're being scapegoated. During the holiday season, the feelings of obligation and guilt can be cranked up for the individual, and the role of scapegoat becomes even more apparent. Fortunately, there are 5 simple steps you can take to stop being scapegoated and survive the holiday season. Number 1, only accept what is your responsibility. You cannot take on other people's problems, despite what they try and blame you for. And you cannot do the work for someone who isn't willing to look inward and do the work on themselves. You are not responsible for shouldering the blame of other people's problems. She's only treating you this way because she's hurt. You need to make more of an effort. You just need to try because she's upset. I did try a number of times, but no time was ever good enough, and enabling abusive behavior doesn't help anyone. She didn't mean it, she was just jealous. You're only responsible for your feelings, your actions, and your words. Provided these are done from a place of compassion and honesty, you have nothing to worry about. You are not responsible for other people's feelings, actions, or words. If someone doesn't express an "I feel" or "I felt" statement, then it's likely a statement of blame rather than a sincere grievance. Action step. Ask how things could be made better. If the request is reasonable, then you can action it. But if it's not, don't feel obliged to do it. The punishment must fit the crime. Example, you don't get to abuse me because I was late. Number 2, establish ground rules. Introduce some stakes into the scenario. Be firm and make it clear that if this behavior continues, you're going to remove yourself from the situation. I need you to stop enabling this kind of behavior. If this continues, then I'm going to have to rethink how much time I spend there. I won't continue to endure that kind of treatment in the hopes that one day it might get better. If things were going to change, then they would have changed already. Note down the topics or behavior that you find triggering or demeaning and would prefer not to tolerate in that environment. Then write the action steps that will happen should those behaviors occur. This could be as simple as gently reminding the other person that it was agreed we wouldn't swear at each other. If the behavior continues to persist, if it is safe to do so, you could leave the room should you be uncomfortable. You may even stipulate that if the behavior continues, you will be forced to take a timeout from the people or place. Action step. Relay verbally or in writing your ground rules ahead of time and be prepared to follow through with them. Number 3, refrain from arguing. You cannot win an argument with someone set on blaming you, regardless of how much evidence you have. Things will always be twisted. Instead, remember to never jade, justify, argue, defend, or explain. State the facts and your side of the story once, maybe twice, and that's it. When the blame train leaves the station, it can be hard to get off. The fastest way to derail the blame is to ask questions. Ask for examples to prove their accusations. Use phrases to diffuse arguments, such as, "What is your biggest concern right now? What do you need? What would it take to make you happy? How can I fix this? How are you feeling?" Action step. When airing your issues, use the non-violent communication model. State the observation, how you feel, your expectations, and your request for the future. I did a previous video touching on this non-violent communication model, which I'll link down below. Number 4, Give yourself permission to step away. Distance and separation are powerful tools in your arsenal to ending the scapegoating, not to mention protecting your self-worth. It's not her fault, she can't help it. She's just really hurt and lashing out. Just be patient and keep trying. I told you that I was unhappy with the double standards and the lack of fair treatment. I made it clear that I felt hurt by the fact that you keep taking sides. You've just taken her side again. I no longer feel comfortable in that environment and will not be spending the holidays there. If you establish ground rules in step 2, then you have already given yourself the right to walk away should the bad behavior continue. If you have set the consequences as you will leave, then you need to follow through. If you're the scapegoat, then people are accustomed to disrespecting your boundaries. And until they see that there are repercussions for how they treat you, they will continue to disrespect your boundaries. Action step. If your ground rules are being ignored, you must follow through with the consequences. The simple act of explaining these ahead of time has given you permission to leave. Toxic people will always try to push boundaries. Being consistent is crucial. Number 5, lean on your support network. Turn to the people you trust to provide an environment of non-judgment. The ones who have your best interests at heart and don't want to blame you for their issues. I just feel like what I'm asking for isn't unreasonable. But is it me? Am I the asshole? You're wise. You're like a miniature Buddha, all covered in hair. Often it can feel like you're going crazy and that you're the only one going through this. That's just not the case. Scapegoating and toxic relationships are incredibly common, and what can really be of benefit is to speak with others who understand or have been through something similar. There are plenty of online communities full of like-minded people experiencing the same things, and knowing that you're not crazy, that there isn't something faulty with you, can make dealing with it a lot easier. Action step. Confide in trusted friends, online communities, or get a good therapist. The simple act of speaking through what you are feeling can have a profound impact. Oftentimes from the outside, scapegoating can seem very innocent, but for the individual being blamed, it can have a lot of damage. Remember, just because someone is trying to blame you for their issues, doesn't mean you need to accept it. No one has a right to make you feel less than, or that you somehow aren't good enough as you are. The only actions you should be held responsible for are your own and no one else's. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Maddie B, and be kind to one another.